by the TMC. Now I take the name. The TMC technique of shouting members down.
Susmita ji, please.
Every time somebody tries to answer the points that they raise, they shout them down.
Please take your seat.
That kind of a thing will not work in this house. I'm sorry to say this, sir. We are trying to answer the questions that have been raised here. Then there is no need to shout me down here. I will continue my answer.
Please, please.
Sir, to 1990s, double engine Congress ke sarkar, double engine Congress sarkar ke samay, how many people died? I want to say, why in 1990s the then Prime Minister did not visit, the then Home Minister did not visit? I would like to ask that question as much as...
Please take your seats. I am not allowed to put in question.
This tactics, I'm now saying the name, sir. This tactics of Trinamool Congress to shout down ministers when they speak will not be allowed, will not be entertained. We are giving answers. We are giving answers. You should have the strength of your conviction to hear the answers here.
Please listen the answers, please.
I am coming point by point for every one of the questions that they've raised. If they don't have the conviction to sit and listen it, they can choose whatever they want. But it is not appropriate to shout a minister down when they are answering your questions. Have the patience. Again, commencing from Manipur budget and Manipur law and order issues, several members have spoken. Member Honorable Shakti Singh Gohil, Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharji, Sushmita Dev, Sanjay Singh, Sulata Dev, Manoj Kumar Jha, Mr. P. Wilson, Vaiko, Santosh Kumar, all of them have spoken about it. So I will broadly explain the context, sir. I want to understand, equally state some facts before the House. Sir, Manipur is a border state. Manipur, at least all of us know, since some decades, has gone through quite a crisis. And every time there is a recovery, it goes back to some other situation. So every government has handled it with that sensitivity. I am not differentiating between this government or that government. There have been situations much more in terms of human loss, more in terms of asset loss and so on. So when we speak about the state, I will say that every voice which has been voiced in this House has the same sensitivity as much as all of us have. There is no way any one of us will be doing any help to Manipur by pointing a finger at one another. But even with that said, I will definitely try to remind some passionate voices which speak as if everything was calm and never has there been a situation like this ever before in Manipur. Sir, in 1990s, I've heard quite a few members speak about, double engine sarkar, center be BJP, state be BJP. There have been double engine sarkar of Congress earlier. Center be Congress, Manipur be Congress. And what kind of agitations and loss of life have happened? So your double engine did not do anything. In fact, it worsened the situation, if I have to get into that kind of a talk. We are, all of us here, committed to get that state back to some normalcy, and we want that state to grow and prosper as much as any other state. There cannot be, even for a moment, a mockery of kind of things that we want to state when that state is suffering, and all of us will have to be working towards.
Please take your seat, Mr. Gokhale. Nothing is going on record. Please take your seat. Madam, take your seat. Please, nothing is going on record. Take your seat.
I will not get distracted by the TMC. Now I take the name. The TMC technique of shouting members down.
Susmita ji, please.
Every time somebody tries to answer the points that they raise, they shout them down.
Please take your seat.
That kind of a thing will not work in this House. I'm sorry to say this, sir. We are trying to answer the questions that have been raised here. Then there is no need to shout me down here. I will continue my answer.
Please.
Sir, to 1990s, double engine Congress ke sarkar, double engine Congress sarkar ke samay, how many people died? I want to say, why in 1990s, the then Prime Minister did not visit, the then Home Minister did not visit. I would like to ask that question as much as...
Please take your seats. I am not allowed
Sir,
to put in question.
This tactics,
Nothing is going on record.
I'm now saying the name, sir. This tactics of Trinamool Congress to shout down ministers when they speak will not be allowed, will not be entertained. We are giving answers. We are giving answers. You should have the strength of your conviction to hear the answers here.
Please listen the answers, please.
I'm coming point by point for every one of the questions that they've raised. If they don't have the conviction to sit and listen it, they can choose whatever they want. But it is not appropriate to shout a minister down when they are answering your questions. Have the patience. Sir, I will remind you, sir, in 2002-2017, 2002 to 2017, Manipur had a Congress government. There was central government till 2014 run by the Congress party. Manipur witnessed 628 months. Sir, Honorable Member Sushmita Dev, Honorable Member, has reasons to be worried about Manipur, she said, and I agree. She comes from an area which is close to Manipur and she knows so much about what's happening there. She raised a lot of questions. I am trying to answer each one of them. If it is an attempt to shut me down, it means that her allegations are not right. If she's got the strength of her conviction, she should hear my answers. And after that, I will sit down, welcome, if you permit her, to ask any number of questions more. But what's the point in shouting me down if there are other members who can also benefit from the answer that I'm giving? She's raised valid questions. I want to answer them. No, they've run out. That's because their tactics is always, don't allow a minister to answer, do all your mudslinging, go away. I know they are watching on the television. Sir, 2000, sorry? I'm giving you the answer. I'm giving answer. To their chief minister they have to register that they protested. But this house is not the street of Bengal. Not any street of Kolkata. Order prevails. You run the house per the rule and we obey the rule. It's not, any street in Kolkata where they can scream, shout, pelt stones and run away. Sir, between that time when Congress was ruling in centre and in Manipur, 628 bunds had happened. Several blockades had happened during the 15 years then, and also cost huge loss. The state exchequer had lost nearly 2,828 crore. It was assessed. 2,828 crore was lost during that period. Sir, and the worst economic blockade had happened at that time. And it occurred in 2011, lasting over 120 days. Causing severe shortages. Petrol price was 200 rupees per litre. LPG cylinder cost 2,000 rupees per cylinder. Sir, on the question of Bengal funds not being released, honourable members don't seem to be here. Probably they don't want an answer from me because they know that even the CAG has pointed out on how many inappropriate actions have happened. Many of the bogus ghost accounts have been given money to, and when the realization had to happen from those ghost accounts, the state government chose to pay that amount which has actually got to be realized from the ghost accounts. They gave that money itself from their own state's treasury. So first of all, you give the money for non-existing individual. 2, when that has to be recovered as per the orders of CAG, you again give from the taxpayers' money to saying, no, I've recovered, take it. You have not recovered from people for whom it went, who were not deserving of it, or probably people who don't even exist. Whereas for that, to make up that, you again take it from the taxpayers' money. Such blatant misuse have happened, and therefore about Bengal screaming and shouting at me. I can understand the anxiety, but they should follow the rules laid down and be transparent in the ways in which they use the money. Sir, there are two matters which I bring in which were not probably discussed so much in this House, sir, but related to the economy. There's a lot of discussion about household debt has increased, and what is the government doing about it? Your policies are not working. I want to highlight, sir, this is a very appropriate forum. I want the honourable members to know that one of the long-term impacts of COVID has affected the nature of work itself. People have either chosen to work from home or they don't want to work full-time. So I want to understand, I want to lay before this House, one, the factors of production are being reset. The industry is also looking at using robotics, industry is also looking at Web3 driven production, and therefore there is definitely a lot of churn. There was this feeling that compensation for employees is not going up. I'd like to highlight the national account statistics. Compensation of employees at current prices achieved a compound average growth rate of 11.1% during 14-15 to 22-23. So the first 10 years of Prime Minister Modi's rule, you had the wages going up 11.1%, and that is the data given. Now this is up to 22-23, which is inclusive of the COVID years as well. So post-COVID as well, increase has happened. However, I would also like to say that India's household debt is relatively low compared to the other emerging market economies as well as some developed countries. Sir, except for Brazil, where it is 35%, ours being higher than them at 39%. So, household debt, loans and debt securities as a percentage of GDP for India is 39, whereas for Brazil it is 35. But all other countries which are comparable with us, say Malaysia 69%, Greece 42%, Canada 102%, Hong Kong 93%, Australia 110%, Israel 42%, France 63%. So household debt, if people are talking about it as though India's is high because the way in which we handled COVID, I'm sorry, they are wrong. Our household debt to GDP is far lower compared to our peer group and compared to some of the advanced economies. So the stock of financial liabilities of the household as a percentage of GDP has increased from 38% in March 2023 to 40.2% in March 2024, which is Reserve Bank of India numbers. Stock of financial assets of households as a percentage of GDP increased from 103.5% in March 23 to 108.3% in March 2024, given by the Reserve Bank of India. So I want to put before this Honourable House India and its asset and liability figures are very much better than very many of our comparable emerging market economies and even some of the developed economies. Outside again, sir, discussion on inequality prevailing in India. I just want to highlight the fact consumption inequality in rural and urban areas has declined significantly, as reflected by the significant improvement in the Gini coefficient, which is a key measure of income inequality, sir. I'm stating the number for 2011-12, 22-23 and 23-24 in that order. For rural areas, sir, in 2011-12, it was 0.283, whereas today it is 0.237 only, which means the situation is improving, it's bettering rather than widening. The inequality is not widening. In urban areas, sir, it was 0.363 in 2011-12. In 22-23, it improved to 0.314, whereas now in 23-24, for which the data is last available, it is 0.284. Drastic change, improvement in the inequality index. So the inequality is not widening, it is only narrowing. So I want that to be laid in the House, sir. Approximately 25 crore people escaped multi-dimensional poverty in the last 9 years. This is due to the significant initiatives that the government has taken up, and this data has come from Niti Aayog. Sir, more important, one of the data which is important for talking about inequality in that debate, a paper which has been put out and which has been remarkably, I was surprised, written in the Economist magazine, says that inequality declined over the last decade. First time since 1990s in India, inequality has declined in the last decade. This has come out through that article in Economist, which draws on the paper written after extensive research by Dr. Surjit Balla and Karan Basin. It also says, the Economist also says, poverty has declined across all possible poverty lines. The Economist doesn't write about our government in favorable terms, but you have them saying this means it is in your face. You cannot deny it. Third, sir, extreme poverty has been eliminated. That's what it says. In India, under Prime Minister Modi, extreme poverty has been eliminated. Poverty at 15% for World Bank's higher poverty line of $3.2 PPP, down from 52% in 2011-12, sir. So from 52% in 2011-12, it's come down to 15%. So on the inequality debate, I honorably request all the honorable members that the data that we are giving you here, please go through it. And then, of course, we have all ears to listen to your comments. But without the data, please, let us have a considered debate. So there was also this noise about how India's Make in India is failing. In fact, Honorable Member Jairam Ramesh had tweeted about it. He's incidentally gone in. But I would like to respond to him. Make in India has not failed at all. On the contrary, it has given a great momentum for manufacturing in India. India's manufacturing sector has faced significant challenges due to externalities rather than due to anything to do with India. We have taken short-term and long-term measures. Honorable Prime Minister Modi has prioritized national interest in economic policy making. He has spoken about it even yesterday in a podcast, which is being received all over the world, for extensive and comprehensive viewpoint on how this government deals with very many issues. India's own domestic growth, India's cultural rootedness, India's foreign policy. He has given extensively his thoughts on all these subjects. So has he prioritized national interest in economic policy making also. In order to curb dumping of goods into this country, sir, several measures have been taken up. Anti-dumping duties have been imposed. Strengthening of our trade defense mechanism have been taken up. I want to highlight how Atmanirbhar Bharat and related policies have brought in defense sector today to become an exporter, net exporter. They are able to earn more than 30,000 crores. And as a result, you see what Make in India has achieved for defense production in this country. And I see enthusiastic, I'm sorry to say, Congress members taking vicarious pleasure in saying, oh, Make in India is dead, RIP Make in India. Make in India made defense to become net exporter and earn 30,000 crores. Don't be too quick. And above all, Congress has had absolutely a hypocritical approach to Make in India. They had remained in power from 2004 till 2011 when they came up with the national manufacturing policy. 2014, of course, they went away. It took them 7 long years just to make a policy rather than implement it. Now, that national manufacturing policy was there, which said 25% we'll achieve in manufacturing contribution to GDP. They said that. But before even moving that paper, people send them out. So when Prime Minister Modi in 2014 brings Make in India, the kind of statements which have been made by Congress members. One eminent member at that time said, the objective of Make in India plan to attract investment and technology and promotion of exports cannot be part of a partisan narrative. Do you want manufacturing to grow in this country or not? And having brought out this national manufacturing policy, they also said, being, hypocritical or confused, they said when Make in India was announced, Make in India is just a revamped version of national manufacturing policy. And you claim that Make in India isn't working. You claim that Make in India isn't working. Doesn't that mean that national manufacturing policy itself was flawed? Are you suggesting that? It is your policy. But it remained a policy, it didn't find an action ground. And when we make it an actionable policy, we bring in Make in India, we want to bring in several steps towards improving it. They have this problem of either not knowing whether they should accept it, not knowing whether they should reject it, because it also has their own national manufacturing policy into it. They claim 25% of contribution, manufacturing will reach 25% to the GDP level. No, they didn't move an inch. Whereas Make in India today is showing how, for example, in the defense industry, we are able to export. And also, I would want to highlight, sir, the national manufacturing policy guided them to set up national investment and manufacturing zones in several parts of the country. They're called NIMS in the short. NIMS also remained where they were. They were in far-flung areas, no railway station next to it, no port. They were on patronage basis. And not until when Prime Minister Modi brings PM Gati Shakti, when all this gets integrated into that, when a scheme of things are understood as to does it have a port next to it, does it have a railway station next to it, is a coal mining area or a raw material supply area next to it, bring all that together and do something to improve logistics there. It is only after that PM Gati Shakti has NIMS found the light of the day. Otherwise they were desolate and isolated places all over the country with no semblance of any making in India. Of course, manufacturing was just a policy for them. There was no more implementation on it. Similarly, sir, they also had a lot of quick fix FTAs, which killed actually many of our manufacturing. Today, Commerce Minister is struggling to have those FTAs hurriedly done during their period, reviewed, because countries have realized it was so loosely worded, it had so many things which was ready giveaways for our partner countries, which is good. You want to give them market access for many of the things. But we didn't get equally anything for ourselves. So the Commerce Ministry today is sitting and asking those countries to review the FTA signed during UPA policy time. So that hurried rushing into FTA, hurried bringing into some kind of a context, manufacturing policy, has not delivered. On the contrary, has hurt us. Believe in Make in India. It is giving you results. I've already quoted how defense exports are flourishing under Make in India. Of course, everybody called during UPA time their growth as jobless growth, which is right. 69, the report of the Standing Committee on Finance itself said that. Sir, but I would like to highlight the fact that Make in India has actually given us good result. We took step after step after step to strengthen the manufacturing in this country. Corporate tax rate was brought down to 15% for new capacities in February 2019. Production-linked incentives have been given for critical key starting materials, KPI, drug intermediaries and active pharmaceutical ingredient manufacturers. Manufacturing of medical devices have happened. Automobiles and auto components get PLI. Pharmaceutical drugs get PLI. Specialty steel gets PLI. Telecom network products, electronic technology products, white goods, ACs and LEDs, food products, textile products, MMF segment of technical textiles, high efficiency solar PV modules, advanced chemistry cells, and drones and drone components all get PLI. I just want to highlight one data point, sir. I'm not just listing PLIs. Some of the most notable achievements of PLI schemes are attracted investments exceeding 1.5 lakh crores. Because of PLI, 1.5 lakh crores have come into this country. Employment generation has happened to the extent of 9.5 lakh people. It has also led to exports surpassing 4 lakh crores. Electronics, pharmaceutical and food processing sector are also contributing to the export. 99.2% of mobile phones now sold in the country are made in India. 325 to 330 million mobile phones are being manufactured in India every year. Mobile phone exports reached $15.6 billion in 23-24 from 0.2 billion in 2014-15. Significant reduction in the import of raw materials in the pharma sector thanks to PLI. Considerable improvement in domestic sourcing of raw materials in food processing, again because of PLI. Telecom equipment manufacturing surpassed 50,000 crores in sales under the production linked incentive scheme. The automobile sector also got a considerable boost, with the PLI directly generating sales worth 2.25 lakh crores and creating 1.5 lakh jobs in that sector. So I would request our Congress members, when they talk about Make in India, thinking that they can sing a requiem, I'm sorry, no, it is live, kicking, flourishing and making our economy absolutely stronger for it. So last one point I would like to highlight. As a result of this concerted effort, sir, our domestic defense production, about which I spoke, reached 1.27 lakh crores, marking a record high with an impressive increase approximately of 174% from 46,429 crores, which it was in 2014-15. So defense is a classic example. In that, I will just put one example forward, sir. You are from Bihar. It's a very good example to show how every state of India is contributing for Make in India. Made in Bihar boots are now part of the Russian army's equipment. So Bihar is contributing for manufacturing, and boots manufactured there are going for our Russian army as well. So number of companies have also increased, which have registered. 13% increased in the number of establishments has been witnessed. Employment marked over 10% rise. Manufacturing sector reported the highest wage growth of 16%. Sir, without elaborating more, I know honorable members are waiting for a long time. Lunch hour, you may run the house even during lunch, but I don't want to take more of your time. But I thank every one of the members who have spoken on the 4 bills which are before this House for consideration and returning to the Lok Sabha.